password. It's I'm Common, Lil B, Larry Mandela Guy, and Meat Sauce. Brett Blakemore is the host. Tenneby's out today. It's not over yet. Sort of like that.
Fine.
Sort of like that 2017 NFC Championship game where the Vikings just needed a touchdown, 2-point conversion, onside kick, touchdown, 2-point conversion, onside.
Alex.
What is the score?
The score is
It's irrelevant.
55-10. Common and Larry Mandela Guy in the lead. By the way, I should remind you, you can watch this game right now. KFAN.com/watch. We did get a texter say, can you ask Brett to put on a hat? The reflection of his head is hurting my eyes.
Sick burn.
I'd recommend just turning down the brightness on your device and going from there. So here we go. Do we want to continue here from the password?
Yeah,
Let's see. Who's, I believe the iPad goes to Lil B and Larry Mandela Guy here. The password is heart.
I just heard from the Cinema Grill. Good news is they sold some tickets. Some people gave them back. So, after hearing us. So.
Lil B, you have the option. What would you like to do?
I'm going to try first.
Okay.
All right. Very confident. Lil B and Sauce for 10.
Cardiac.
Arrest?
Oh, that's what I was said too.
That's good. That's fine.
Common and Larry Mandela Guy for 9.
Barracuda. Heart.
Okay.
It was a good response. Also, I don't know any songs that Heart sings.
Yeah, that would be the one.
Won't ya? Barracuda.
It is now 64-10. Common and Larry Mandela Guy lead. Lil
I'm just
B
trying to
and
get you
Sauce.
home.
Yeah.
I'm hungry. Do you got any more tuna over there?
Yeah, I do. And some.
Kind of offended he didn't share it
Have
with
some
me.
cottage cheese.
No, he has Fritos. That's what I want. That
They're
other
gone.
trash. Of course they are.
The iPad goes to Sauce and Common, who's trying to keep his distance from the tuna. The password is cloud. All right, Saucy, you've got the option. What would you like to do?
We'll go first.
All right, Sauce and Lil B for 10.
Cumulus?
I have no idea, Sauce. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That backfired.
Common and Larry Mandela Guy for 9.
Overcast.
Cloudy.
One chance to Shane.
Cloud.
I got it after.
Yeah, it's all right. That was a good clue.
We don't have it today.
All right, well, it's 158. The score is 72-10.
200.
Can you slap together a 5-3-4?
I might have
Since
to.
we didn't do one at 1, we
Yeah.
can do it at 2.
You might have to kill a segment or two here. So, Common and Larry Mandela Guy, you can win here. Obviously, or 73 is my count.
73
Yeah,
to
73. I miswrote. So 73-10.
Sorry.
Sorry. Let's go. iPad goes over to Lil B and Larry Mandela Guy. The password is coyote.
73 plus 10 still adds up to more tickets than we've sold tonight.
You can just promo that for the next 15 minutes. Could get there. Lil B, you have the option.
There's an uptick. There's been an uptick
really?
recently, yeah. Sort of.
Lil B, what would you like to do?
I'm going to go first.
Okay. Lil B and Sauce for 10.
Wiley.
Coyote. All right. There you go.
Here we go.
We're going to get off the schneid here. Let's go.
Let's go.
We're coming. We're coming. The score is 73-20 now. The iPad goes back to Sauce and Common. The password is plant. All right, Sauce, what would you like to do? You're down. You and Lil B are down 73-20.
We'll go second.
All right. Common and Larry Mandela Guy for the win.
Seeds.
Sunflower.
Sauce and Lil B for 9.
House.
Plant.
There you go. Let's go.
I think
Hold the
plant
phone,
was a
Cotton.
word last week, wasn't it? Or the week before,
Was it?
yeah. Yeah, when Audra was here.
There's only a million words. It's
No, I
bound
know.
to overlap eventually.
You wouldn't have known.
So here we go, 73 to 29. Little rally coming from Sauce and Lil B. The iPad goes over to Lil B and Larry Mondella guy. The password is spy. All right, Lil B, what would you like to do? You have the option.
Second.
Okay. Larry Mondella guy and Common for 10 and the win.
Bond.
Connection.
Lil B and Sauce for 9.
Traitor.
Joe's.
Sauce and Larry Mondella guy for 8 and the win.
Intelligence.
James. I just wanted to see.
Sauce and Lil B for 7.
Traitor.
Is it espionage? I mean, isn't that?
I hope not.
All right, obviously.
This is Common and Larry Mondella guy for 6, not the win.
Spy.
Yeah, I got it.
That's a hard word. That's a hard one.
I was about to say, I don't know.
All right, any other correct answer from Common and Larry Mondella guy? They are your winners. The score is 79 to 29.
Oh, it's not over.
It's not over.
Oh, I thought it was over.
One more at us.
All right.
Come on.
That's my fault. I should have got
Nothing is over.
That was a hard one.
I mean, that's really pro radio move to extend it by not getting that one for a couple of
Yeah,
years.
you're welcome.
Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
You're high level, long time. All right, here we go. iPad back over to Sauce and Common. The password is shoulder. All right, Saucy, what would you like to do? You have the option.
We will go second.
Okay, Common and Larry Mondella guy for 10 and the win.
Burden.
Lil B and Sauce for 9.
Rotator.
Cuff?
Common and Larry Mondella guy for 8 and the win.
Arm.
Shoulder.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
There's your game. 87 to 29 is your final. Common and Larry
Am I
Mondella guy.
supposed to take my shirt off and run around?
Absolutely not.
We'd rather
What?
You that's only a
No.
Maxwell thing.
No.
If you really feel a need to, but the rest of us would like
That was
to
a
leave
quick
first.
no.
No.
Well, you can, but wait for the rest of us to
Okay,
leave the room
that's-
if you
that's
don't mind.
good. Yes.
We can do that.
Yeah, give us a
wants to
quick
see that.
5-minute set here to kill some time.
Well, here's one thing I'm going to say. You know, the comedy's going to be great. Colleen Justice is great. You get your money's worth just by watching Common and Sauce try to sell merch, okay? Because there's 2 different piles of money, one for books, one for
It
T-shirts.
is a disaster.
Half of the money goes to each of them. It's absolutely comical to watch them. Some guy, you know, the shirts are what, 25 or something?
Yeah,
If they
30.
come with, if they 30, okay.
Gratuity.
Book is
You know
20.
why
and
they're
so we're
30 now?
passing money. It's like a shell game.
Yeah.
And we say, here, this is yours. This is mine. I'm
Yeah.
going, okay.
They're 30 now because they couldn't divide 25 by 2
Yeah,
very
yeah,
easily.
yeah.
So,
I still think you owe me $6.
yeah.
Oh, I
it's
do?
great.
I think you owe me $6, one way or the other. There is that. That is kind of fun.
Yeah. No, it'll be great.
So, did you cut the umbilical cord?
I did not.
You did not.
No.
Did they ask you?
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I didn't watch.
I bit it. Just
Stop.
sank my teeth right into it.
Yeah, I was asked not to watch by my wife, and I didn't. And yeah, it was unbelievable. Like, I can't explain. Like, it was a process, right? And but when I first saw his feet, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I just witnessed. And I sobbed, and then it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
But you, from looking in the mirror, actually witnessed the birthing process before, because that's what the top of your head looks like.
Well, don't give away all my
sorry. That's one of his jokes. It's really good. It brings the house right then. They're putty in his hands.
Yeah.
So now I went when my boys were circumcised, and I went and witnessed it.
You went and witnessed it?
I said, if they're going to go through that, I'm going to be there with them every step of the way.
Yeah.
I did. I actually did. I went there.
Can you explain what that is? I have 6 daughters.
Yeah, that's right. You wouldn't know. It's I just figured if I put my boys through that, I'm going to be there for it.
Yeah, so
Doc just did it. Bing, bang, boom, he's done.
So we did that, and I asked the woman in the waiting room full of people if I had to watch. And she looked at me like, are you an insane person? I go, well, I don't know. Isn't it like a thing? Isn't it like part of like an experience? She's like, no, you don't have to watch.
Most people don't, but I did.
I don't know why you would watch. I would not watch.
And then what was cool about it, you get these little rings with it too, these little plastic like ring. And so I kept them as souvenirs. I still got them.
My God.
Oh my God.
Wear them on a charm bracelet.
Did you actually watch?
Yes, I swear to God.
So
Yeah, I think my husband did too. I sent him. Because they're like, all right, we're going to take him. And I was in no condition to get out of bed. And I was like, you need to go with him.
Yeah.
Follow them down the hall.
It was okay. It's quick. It's easy. They strap them in. It's in.
They give him like a little sugar water to like try to distract him.
We did it at the pediatrician's office because it's an elective, and you're not supposed to, like, it's expensive if you do it at the hospital now.
Oh, really?
And they even told us at the hospital, they're like, don't do it here. Do it at the pediatrician. So
you can't do it at home.
No, I don't know how to do it. No. And so when we got home, when we sat there and waited for 20 minutes, and the doctor came in that didn't, was like, all right, I'm going to show you what you got to do to when he has to change his diaper. You have to put something on it.
Yeah, a little ointment of something.
But so she looked, and she's like, there's no bleeding. I don't want to disturb it. So we get home. He's sleeping the whole time because he's been through a horrific accident, right? And we put him down on his bed thing, and I'm like, I think he pooped. So my wife's like, all right, we'll change him together. I mean, it looked like he got beat up.
Yeah,
it was to the point where like I couldn't look at it. Yeah. There was so much blood, and I'm like, so luckily my wife's friend is a doctor. She lives like 2 minutes from us. Okay. She came over and she looked at it. She goes, yeah, that's what it's supposed to look like. I'm like in the kitchen. Like I couldn't look at it. It would just freak me out. So then this will be part of my bit tonight. There'll be more to it. But I had to go get gauze. So I go to Walgreens.
And you come back with Blu-ray on DVD.
Correct. And I'm looking through, I'm wandering through Walgreens. I haven't slept in like 3 days. I look like a disaster. And I find the gauze, but I can't find the Vaseline. And in my head, I'm like, I'm not going to ask, where is the Vaseline? But I couldn't find it. So I have 3 boxes of gauze, and I'm like, do you know where the Vaseline is? And he looks at me, he's like, yeah. I'm like, I look like some kind of weirdo performing surgeries in his car. Like, so.
I thought you said you were going to call hockey.
Right. No, so it was, but yeah, he's fine now. He's bounced back. He didn't even know.
No,
like they have no idea.
No, they don't know.
But we brought him in here today, and he's cute.
Cutest ever.
We're really lucky. He's really cute.
Lil B says she held Louie, and it was cool.
Abbott didn't want to, Abbott literally was like, you guys can leave. And like, Abbott's a natural leader.
Yeah. Natural born leader.
Yeah. And then we showed Bossberg, and he got a little emotional, but yeah, it was great. He was great. He slept the whole time.
Has this happened yet where you're changing little Louis, and then all of a sudden, like a little fire hose, it starts going. It's going everywhere. Yeah. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, to the point where I'm like, this will shock you, but the first couple of nights, my wife has been amazing. And I'm not good at things because I don't want to be good at things, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So my wife, like the first time I changed him in the middle of the night, I was so loud about it that she just woke up and was like, I'll do it. Because I'm like, he wouldn't stay still. His legs are flailing, peeing all over the place. And I'm like, settle down.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, he's great. He sleeps well. He's great.
You make good sense that there's have you ever heard of a book called Diary of a Wimpy Kid?
Yeah.
You ever heard of that?
Yeah.
And Roderick is the older brother. And one of the great lines from the movie, because we saw the movies with the boys, he looks at the younger kid whose name is, can't think of his name, anyways, he goes, first rule, never be good at something you don't want to do.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, you know. Yeah, I'm not very good at shoveling the driveway. I'm really bad. I guess you don't have to shovel the driveway. So never be good at something. And then he also says, because they were going to get in trouble, and he goes, and no matter what, deny.
Yeah.
Never.
It's easier now, the diaper bit, because there's the umbilical cord thing fell off, and if the.
What'd you do with that?
I don't know where. I think that went in the garbage.
Yeah, it just goes in the garbage.
Yeah, but that's a weird, because you're not supposed to take it.
Yeah, I know.
Or pull out, or like in a.
No, never. No.
Yeah. Yeah, they're weird
I
creatures.
still have my umbilical cord hanging from my dog.
My God, you can see that
I was
tonight.
going to make the same joke, and I was like, no, I'm not going there.
I still have it. Yeah.
Those are supposed to fall off.
Anyway. Okay. So this will be part of your routine. This will be good.
Well, I got a couple of
I bet
bits,
you do. Well, sure you do. I knew you would.
Well, so
this could revive your comedy career.
When we were at the hospital, it was the longest it's in my life that it's ever been. It was a 4-day period where it wasn't about me. So I had to make things so it was about me. So at one point at like 2 a.m, all the nurses are sitting out in their vestibule area.
Yeah.
And one of them was like, hey, do you have that video where you fell? I think I showed every single person that works at that hospital.
When you went out the steps.
Yeah, and I fell, So
they were entertained. You were entertained.
Yeah, but it was the best experience of my life. My wife has been unbelievable, and I mean that. I'm not just saying that because I know she's listening and disappointed that I let Barb down in password. But yeah, my wife's been amazing. It's been the best thing that's ever happened to me. He's the best.
And are you? Is that it? Do you think you might go for a couple?
No,
more?
I think I'm 42, man. I'm old.
I was 44 and 46.
Yeah,
but my wife was about 10 years younger than me, and my second wife hasn't been born yet. So
how did you create your kids?
Stop. There it is.
Boys, this is going to be a good show tonight.
I think it is.
I think we got a good chance to be really good. Tickets available at cinemagrill.com. We gave a bunch away this week, too. 8 people, and Barb, I need to thank you. We gave away 8 on the air, and Barb volunteered to send the street team out. At night, they were breaking driver's side windows on cars all over the Twin Cities and placing Flop, Sweat, and Tears tour tickets on dashboards.
Pay overtime for that.
Yeah, so we appreciate you helping us out there. So, so cinemagrill.com. I'll see you both tonight, right?
Yes.
What time will that be?
The 7:30 show. 7:30. Books for sale, T-shirts. I'll even give blood if that's what it takes to get
7:30.
Yeah, 7:30.
All right, so I'll be home by 8:35.
Yeah, you'll be home by 8:35. And I'll be pouring sweat. I'm going to bring a beach towel because I expect to really be sweating tonight. And you're going to a basketball tournament this weekend?
I got tournament this weekend, but we got to do book club first because mommy needs a drink.
There you go. Guys, thanks. I'll see you tonight. Lil B, I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. Do you have a keyword for a grand in your hand there, Brett?
Yes, I do. The Fan wants to give you a shot at a grand in your hand at the National Cash Contest. Head to KFAN.com. Right. Enter the keyword grand. The keyword is grand, KFAN.com. Keyword grand. Join us for the Fire Aid Benefit Concert to help rebuild the communities devastated by the wildfires throughout Southern California. Thursday, January 30th at the Intuit Dome and Kia Forum Live in LA. Enjoy performances by Dave Matthews, Green Day, Jelly Roll, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Stevie Nicks, and more. Listen to it on our free iHeartRadio app. To donate, visit fireaidla.org. That's fireaidla.org. Don't miss this incredible night of music and unity.
You know what I can never get enough of? Sam Darnold talk. Boy, I love talking Sam Darnold. How many times do you think I've said the name Sam Darnold this year?
Probably hundreds.
Hundreds?
Hundreds of times?
Easily hundreds, maybe thousands of times.
How many times have you sung the song?
Old Sam Darnold had an arm, E-I-E-I-O, with a sack here and another sack there. Here a sack, there a sack, everywhere a sack, sack. Did I get to 9 yet?
No.
You know what the key to that game was for the Rams?
What's that?
They decided to quadruple Sam Darnold. Oh, you like that as a Packer fan?
You know what? You know what's really frustrating about that?
That's that.
Is that the Packer-Viking game, the Packers couldn't get to Sam Darnold with 20 seconds. I mean, they had no pass rush. And, of course, naturally, 2 weeks later, he gets sacked 9 times by the refs. Go figure.
When you quadruple a guy like that, and here's the other thing. I'd have stopped calling that Sam Darnold sack play because that wasn't working at all. We called that how many times? 9 times we dialed that one up. That doesn't make much sense to me, but that's a whole nother thing. But there was a story, Rob Motti. I read Rob Motti's work a lot. He's Associated Press football writer. And his story, this was from, what's today, the 17th or 18th?
The 17th.
So this was earlier today, early morning, updated it at 5 o'clock. Do you really think that he wrote this at 5 o'clock, or he wrote it last night and then they saved it and then kicked it out? That's what I think happened. But it says, Sam Darnold should have plenty options if the Vikings don't keep him. Sam Darnold's shaky finish shouldn't ruin his impressive season or impact his future. Several NFL teams need a franchise quarterback. Blah, blah, blah. Despite his struggles in Minnesota's final 2 games, Darnold should have plenty of options if he hits the open market in March. First, the Vikings have to decide if they want to keep Darnold or use their money to add pieces around J.J. McCarthy, who sat out his rookie season because of a knee injury. Then we heard the quotes from Kwesi yesterday and Kevin O'Connell, and while they certainly weren't, they didn't commit to anything, just kind of, and you didn't expect them to commit to anything, 2 days or a week after the season starts. All of a sudden, well, we've made our decisions, and we're about to let everybody know. We're going to let Sam Darnold go, or we're going to sign. They weren't going to do that. But I do kind of get the feeling that they're probably, because of the amount of money it would take to sign him, and they must believe in McCarthy because they wouldn't have. I shouldn't say they wouldn't have drafted him because, look, let's step back to March and April of last year, and the Vikings weren't going to bring Cousins. Cousins wasn't coming back. And so they decided, well, it's time we draft a quarterback. And where the Vikings were in the draft, they actually had to move up one slot just to guarantee that they could get Darnold. They traded with the Jets and went from 11 to 10 because, was it 4 other quarterbacks taken before him? So in other words, were they and are they as high on him as they said when they draft? Because, anytime a team drafts somebody, it's always, this guy's got Hall of Fame career written all over him. This is a guy we can climb on his back, and he's going to lead us to the promised land. And I get why you say that. And this isn't necessarily to say they don't believe that, but when you're the 5th quarterback taken and you talk as highly as you did, sometimes you think, well, did you just get stuck with the guy you really didn't want? And do you look at McCarthy as, he's got a better than fair chance to be a good quarterback, but is he really franchise-like material? And, that's why you drafted him. You're hoping you get that 4-year rookie, you get a option year for the 5th year, that you win a lot of football games, and heaven forbid you win a world championship while he's working under his rookie contract, where you're paying him basically a song. I mean, you're basically paying him the NFL equivalent of minimum wage, right? That's what you're paying him. And so, and when they already have plenty of money under the cap, then they want to take that money and give it to Sam it was a fair question to wonder. And the question came up during the season, and it came up at the season-ending news conferences. Did Sam do enough? Because I think he's surprised. I know that the franchise says they weren't surprised at all. They thought Sam could do that all along, blah, blah, blah. I got to think if they were, and maybe they did, but I have a suspicion that if they were really honest, they'd say, yeah, we thought he'd be pretty good, but we never saw this kind of good, because he won NFC Offensive Player of the Month one time. Again, he was being considered, it was a long shot, I think, but he was still, people were saying, he might be a MVP. He's had that kind of a season. I mean, after that 3-interception game against, I think it was Jacksonville, he was close to brilliant the rest of the way. He was really good. So would that alter their thinking? Maybe they really were at the beginning thinking, bridge quarterback, we'll see. Because if you'll remember, KOC had said at one time during training camp, people asked him, well, is Darnold for sure the starting quarterback, or could McCarthy get that? And if I remember correctly, and this isn't an exact quote, it's a paraphrase, but KOC said something to the effect of, well, if he hits certain benchmarks. So they weren't taking anything off the table. And in that first preseason game, the one he got hurt in, it was the next day, his knee was sore, and he went hobbling around and went into TCO, the new Winter Park, and said, I got a pain in my knee, and they looked it over, took the x-rays or whatever they did, MRIs, and found out that he had a torn meniscus, and he was out for the season. But he played pretty well in that preseason game. He looked pretty good. Again, it was against, second stringers and other draft picks and such like that. But he was pretty good. And so I think there was every intention of starting McCarthy. If he played as well as Sam in preseason or showed the same amount of knowledge of the playbook and stuff, I think they would have started with JJ. So, and I kind of think that last two games, the coach was very diplomatic yesterday during the news conference that you heard on this radio station, where he said, they said, are there some things that could have been done to help Sam? And he said, yeah, some protection, some play calling. He sort of kind of took part of the blame, which is magnanimous of him. And I think it's something a coach should do, even if a coach doesn't really feel like, you just don't want a coach to go, I don't know, it wasn't my fault. So the coach took part of the blame. He said that the protection wasn't good, and they've talked about the middle of the line, about they're going to probably, they really didn't hide their thoughts about how their offensive line was leaky, particularly in pass protection those last two games. And so, but I think they were probably soured on Sam in those two games. Was like, I don't want to give him $41 million as another bridge, because they'd have to give him a raise for sure. Now, I thought I saw something, one of those aggregate websites or Twitter accounts, whatever it is, that said, I thought they had a quote from Sam who said, I'd love to come back and play in Minnesota. Now, I don't blame him. If you want to give KOC as much as the credit as most people do, I still think he certainly had a lot to do with Sam's development here, but I also think, I think people still sort of underplay sitting with San Francisco for an entire year and watching them go from training camp to the big game. They lost the big game to Kansas City, but they got to it. And so he's even said himself on a couple of times, I learned a lot there watching these, we're not the only guy that has a great offensive mind and is a great play caller. The Shanahan kid from San Francisco is pretty good, too. So he watched what a winning organization does, comes here, plays for a coach that seems to know what he's doing, got a lot of good weapons. I don't blame him for not wanting to come back. It's easier to just stay in the situation you're in, especially with a team that still seems to have a lot. They need some help. I think they do have to improve that offensive line. They might need to add some defensive pieces because they're aging there, and some guys might not be back. But I wouldn't certainly go, well, the Vikings missed their window. Forget competitive rebuild; it's just strictly rebuild. I think there'll be a force next year if JJ and not Jefferson, but McCarthy can learn quickly on the job. Because I think they're going to go with him, and he's going to have to. We've seen guys do it. Nix was really good. Jaden Daniels is in the divisional finals. It's not all him, but it's a large reason why. So. We'll take our final break of the program. We'll come back one more segment to go. We'll talk a little bit about the NFL playoffs, and we'll make our see what you're thinking, maybe kind of make some predictions on what's going to happen. We'll do that next year on The Fan.
Wild Wednesday is sponsored by Jim Beam. The official bourbon of the Minnesota Wild are here all season long. Listen every Wednesday through March for your chance to win tickets.
Double 13-14 pass, Common Man Program. I'm Common. He is Brett Blakemore. This is what we call the victory formation segment here on the Common Man Program. Before we talk about that National Football League and the upcoming divisional round of the playoffs, four games this week, and we'll get. I think are all of them on this radio station, or are the evening games? We got some Wild or something. I bet, huh?
There's the Wild on Saturday.
On Saturday,
Wild at Nashville, so that might take precedent.
All right.
Other than that, yes.
Okay. My guy Jimmy Butler apparently has worn out his welcome in Miami, and he doesn't mind. He doesn't want to go back. Apparently, I caught a lot of heat from people for siding with Jimmy Buckets during his uneven stay here in Minnesota. I think everybody remembers the final straw. I think he thought he should be paid a little bit more than he was. I don't think he thought there was a lot of hunger with some of the guys on the club. He wasn't I don't think he was a big bodega cat guy. That final practice session over at the practice facility where he took the backups, bench players, role players, and played a little scrimmage with the starters and took them to task, and then he left. And I've always kind of stuck up for Jimmy Buckets because I think he's fiery. I think he wants to win, and he wants to win now. You can make the argument that the method to his madness is madness, that it's like that's really not the way, but you know how some of these guys get. So, it's interesting to me of there are other, the annals of sports is your whole life just sports, is littered with guys who were very unorthodox in the way they either performed, fired up their teams, conducted themselves. Some people are praised for it. It's just Jimmy Buckets being Jimmy Buckets, or they get ripped for it. It kind of depends who your favorite is. I still haven't heard, and I don't know if anybody else can help me. I don't know what it is in the issue between Pat Riley, who runs that organization, and Jimmy Buckets. Do you know what the issue is? He was suspended 7 games for conduct detrimental to the team. I don't know what that conduct was. Was it he was just it was a malcontent? He was I could have been fined here many times. I was considered a morale drain for the longest time. Did you know that? I had an employee review that said that the exact words were, "You're a morale drain."
Wow.
And I'm like, well, me, a morale drain? How so? And they would say, well, you're bringing your coworkers, they're getting depressed and unhappy with working. I go, well, that's not me. When I see a guy and go, they're underpaying you and overworking you, don't you? You see that? And then they go, you're right. And then they became sullen and withdrawn and depressed. Well, I was just pointing out to what you guys were doing to him. That's not me. I'm trying to help the guy.
Were you not giving free show back then?
Yeah, it might be.
That can't be a morale drainer.
I might be spoiling your mood. But and sometimes reality is like a cold slap in the face, but so I still like Jimmy Buckets, and maybe when more comes out on this, if anything does come out on this, like maybe he looked at Pat Riley or other members of the team and said, if he did this, I'm off the Jimmy Butler bandwagon. But he said, your grandma wears army boots. Well, if he says that, then I'm out. Okay, you don't say those kinds of things. Otherwise, I don't know. He's a hell of a player, but he's also 35. I have Jimmy Butler. I bet he's 35 at least, if not older.
He is.
I don't think he's pushing 40.
35.
Yeah, 35 years old.
Nicely done.
So getting a little bit long in the tooth, but he's still. If I had to win a game or a series, I wouldn't mind him being on my club.
I tried to look it up to help you out of what the Pat Riley bit is, and I almost got because of one of those parody accounts that just tweets out nonsense, but looks like it's like one letter off. Very close.
And it was
a close call.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the Jimmy Butler saga, and I still was on his side here when he was playing for the Wolves. How about this for lunch? Tuna fish, cottage cheese, Fritos, and now a grapefruit. You like grapefruit?
That would be yucky.
Oh, I love grapefruit. Might be my favorite. If I could pick, let me ask you a question. This is controversial, too. I shouldn't be doing this on a Friday and then throw it in Barrero's lap. But if you could eat one food and that food would sustain you with all the vitamins, minerals, nutrients, protein, all the good stuff, like Wonder Bread, builds strong bodies 12 ways. What food would you select? Would it be cheese because you're a Packer fan? Or?
It might be pizza, which involves cheese. Yeah.
Mine would be grapefruit.
Really?
Yep.
That good?
Nothing beats a good grapefruit, man. You know what I like about it? Difficult to eat. It's very tedious. You have to work at it. You cut it in half, and it's got those little sections in there. And then you have to take a little knife, and then you have to... They actually have grapefruit spoons. Are you familiar with those?
No.
They have a serrated edge on the very tip of it. But I don't have one of those. I just take this knife, and I just do it. These are like little triangles, right? I'm demonstrating right now.
How is grapefruit with tuna aftertaste already in
Well,
your
it washes it down. That's what it helps. It helps get rid of the tuna taste. Yeah. So good. Then you know what you do?
What do you do?
When you're done, a lot of the grapefruit juice remains inside the half rind. Then you get a styrofoam cup and you squeeze it in there and you get about a quarter cup of grapefruit juice too. It's so good.
Seems like a lot of work.
I got
You got nothing but time.
12 more minutes to kill. NFC, AFC divisional round. The first game, the Kansas City Chiefs. Think about this. The Kansas City Chiefs starters, your Patrick Mahomes, you're familiar with him.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of him. Kelsey.
Yeah, I was going to say the wrong name. I was going to give him the other name. His brother is his name. What's his brother's name?
Jason.
I was going to call him Jason. It's Travis. Is it Travis Kelsey?
It is.
Travis Kelsey et al. They've not played since when? Do you know?
It's been at least 2 weeks.
Christmas Day.
Yeah.
They played Christmas Day in week 17. They've not played since. I'm not going to get into the argument about how much time off that is. But 25 to the 31st is that 6 days? And now they're going to play tomorrow, which is the 18th. So let's say 17. So 17 and 6 is what? 23. They haven't played in 23, and if you want to count tomorrow, 24 days. The question is, rest or rust?
Rest or rust?
I would rather have the rest. There was a time, I think, the only time you don't want to have a bye week or a couple of weeks off is if you're a team that has been on a bit of a roll, right? And you've started to play well and you're starting to build something. Sometimes you just like, let's keep going. Let's go right back out there and play again. Now, contradicting myself a little bit, the Rams got on a roll late, I believe, and then McVay decided to rest his starters. They didn't play week 18. So, the last time they played was week 17, the Rams starters. After week 17, they had, up until that next Sunday, that's 7 days without playing football, maybe practicing, doing walkthroughs, but certainly no contact. And then another 7 days where they didn't have to play. So they had 14 days of resting up their bodies. And I just think that paid dividends against the Vikings. I think they look like the fresher team, the better prepared team. They just look better overall. So maybe time off is the best, but I do think for some teams, if you're on a bit of a roll, you just want to keep playing. You don't want to take any time off. I don't think that's the case with Kansas City. All season long, they showed that. They've
been doing it for years.
But even especially this year where every game was close. And it looked like, they're about to get their first loss of the year. It didn't matter who they were playing. Top teams, mediocre teams, bottom of the rung teams. But then, much like I accuse NBA teams of doing, really good NBA teams, and they do this, when it gets to gut check time, right? When push comes to shove, it's like, okay, now it's time to perform. Now it's time to do the things we used to do that made us good. Now is the time that we put the game away. And Kansas City did it they gave the last game away. They basically forfeited. They lost 38-0 to Denver, was it? That got Denver.
Yeah, they didn't even try.
That got Denver into the postseason play. So basically, I still call that a 15-1 season. They weren't having any trouble. They'll be fresh. They'll be ready. I like the Texans. I think they, if I remember correctly, they came into the season highly regarded. A lot of people were calling them Super Bowl contenders. Ended up, I think, were they 10-7, but won the South? Is that correct? Or were they a wild card? They won the division, didn't they? I don't recall.
Yeah, they won the division.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep.
So, but it was that play.
It was a barn burner division, Colts, Jags, Titans. Yeah.
They were, who'd they play in the first game? Chargers.
Yes.
They were struggling early. The first 2, 3, 4 series, they did nothing. Then it was that one play where Stroud mishandled the snap or whatever, and the ball's bouncing around. He scoops it up. Looks like he's going to get nailed for about a 20-yard loss. He heaves it down the field. They catch it, get a first down, keep the drive alive. From that point, they never looked back. The offense just clicked after that. They beat San Diego and basically dominated them. That all being said, while I think they can hang with Kansas City, I'm thinking you're in agreement with me. Kansas City will win that game, right?
I don't think they can rely on how many interceptions did 4 interceptions for Herbert that game against the Chargers. I don't think they can rely on that with Mahomes. But I'll say this, though, and this may be previewing it. I think the winner of the Ravens-Bills is going to beat Kansas City and go to the Super Bowl. I just haven't been, like you said, every game's been close. And they've almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. We get it. But,
really? Yeah, I never heard that. Can I write that down?
Yeah, you can use that.
Shoes and hand grenades.
But yeah,
you are jumping ahead.
A little bit. But I'm
Let's
not
jump
a full
ahead.
Chiefs believer.
Back off now. You're like that horse in the gate at the Kentucky Derby that just wants to get out and gallop.
Yeah.
So hold on to your horses there.
We've got another 10
do
minutes.
you agree with me, Kansas City?
I do.
All right.
Yeah, at home especially.
The nightcap on Saturday, the Motor City Kitties, the NFC North Division winners. 15-2. Okay. They will, at a first round bye, they will host the Washington Commanders. Commanders had a really nice season. Jaden Daniels will probably end up being Rookie of the Year. They play. Their offense is good. The McLaurin guy's a good receiver. I think they're pretty well rounded. Their defense, I saw where, and I've only seen Washington play one game, and that was the game against Tampa Bay. I'd seen highlights, when they go to game break, but I'm not going to spend any time watching Washington take on the New York Football Giants. It does nothing for me.
You've seen the Hail Mary against the Bears.
Right. I got enough. I got better things to do with my time.
You don't watch the Commanders as much as you once did.
That's exactly right. I don't watch them as much as I once did. But I think that you're 12-5, you're a solid club. I think they can hang with Detroit, much like I think Houston can hang with Kansas City. I've been really nervous about Detroit's defense with all the injuries. They got Anzalone back, and I think without him, they don't beat the Vikings. He got a game ball. He was brilliant in that game. I think having him back is more important than I even thought. They're not going to get anybody else, but they got Demo, they got Knuckles back. So Sonic and Knuckles in the backfield. And I'm still not sure if Sonic is making the right decision. I mean, here's a guy. Doctor says surgery, you're done. Okay, I need a second opinion. Doctor says surgery, you're done. I need a third opinion. Third opinion is like, I think you can play, and that's the one you take, right? Because you want to play as a player, especially when the team has had this kind of, I don't want to call it a storybook season, but a terrific season. You're the Super Bowl, you're the big game favorite by most people, including in Vegas. You don't want to miss all that. Even though you were instrumental in helping the team get to that point, you don't want to be on the sideline. Why? So you want to play, and I hope he doesn't aggravate it. I hope he's at full speed. But because I saw that Washington is porous against the run, if I read that correctly, I thought I read they're like 30th against the run. Detroit is as good a running team as there is in football. As a matter of fact, I think they ran the ball more than any other team in pro football because they had, the Sonic and Knuckles. So I think Detroit will they'll win. They'll just score more points than Washington. I mean, it's not that they're going to stop Washington at every turn. It's just, I just think that their offense is going to be that efficient. Your thoughts about Detroit, Washington? Do you agree or do you like Washington?
Okay.
That would be my thoughts. I just think we're talking about a different class when you're talking about the Lions compared to the Commanders. I get they played well against Tampa, who Tampa I never really believed in to start. I think anyone who would have went there would have won that game, but they kind of played their food. It took a doink in for them to beat the Bucs, who I don't know. I just think we're talking about a different tier of team with the Lions, especially the way they were playing before their bye that they got for being the 1 seed, especially in the litter box. I like the Motor City Kitties. I think they roll. I think the game's over probably midway through the fourth.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. The lid lifter on Sunday, I like this guy. I think the 2 Sunday games are really good. You have, should be really good.
Mm-hmm.
You have Philadelphia hosting the Rams. I thought I saw 90% chance of snow during the game. Your thoughts on Rams, Eagles?
Do you like the snow game? Because I like
I do.
Bundled up under the blanket on the couch.
I don't mind.
It's the best.
Yeah, I don't mind. I like to see the game played. The game's played outdoors, just like golf.
that is true.
The game is played outdoors.
And when you're playing in Philly, keep it below that anyways.
Yeah.
I feel like the Eagles didn't really look. I thought the Packers really beat themselves last week.
Of course you do.
I thought they were terrible, to be honest. I'm ripping my own team. I thought they were so bad. So, and they were beating themselves ever since the Viking game. They just kept doing it over and over. So they weren't really convincing, where to me, I thought the Rams were a problem. I think this could be a come down to the who has the ball last type game, maybe an overtime game in the postseason with the new rules. I'm talking myself into the Rams here.
I'm going to go with the Rams, too.
Yeah.
I like the way they play it. I love Matty Stafford. I call Matty Ice. It's a nickname I just made up. You could use it if you want.
Okay.
Matty Ice.
You're close like that.
He's been there, done that. I think this is just all, what do they call it? Playing with house money. He's won a big game. So if he doesn't win another one, oh, well, I got one. I do like their young defense. I know that offensive line for the Eagles is as good as it gets, maybe the best in pro football. Three of their guys are in the Pro Bowl this year, I think. But I like Jalen Hurts. I think he's got a ton of talent and he's going to get better. But I just think Stafford is like, he's like a fine wine right now. I like the way he plays. And the McVay guy, sharp. You can't deny that. I'll take Philadelphia or the Rams in an upset.
And then Puka as well.
Yeah.
They've got some good players, man.
And then you have your Buffalo hosting Baltimore. That's I think it's Ravens. But are the Ravens favored by 1 on the road? That's what I thought I remember.
Good question.
I think the Ravens. I have the odds here somewhere. I just did spread swing. I didn't toss my sheet.
Oh yeah.
Maybe
1.5 point favorites are the Ravens.
1.5 point favorites.
Wow.
With Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, that's like having 2 running backs, right? Because Lamar Jackson, I watched, who did they beat to get to where they are now? Who did they play last week?
The Ravens, beat the Steelers handedly.
I watched some of that game. And then Lamar Jackson, maybe I don't remember this correctly. I thought he ran the ball like 3, 4, 5 times in a row on one drive, and they couldn't stop him. Your mama couldn't stop him. Your daddy couldn't stop him. The police couldn't stop him. Certainly the Steelers couldn't stop him. They've got talent at the wide receiver position. They're good on both sides of the ball.
He ran the ball 15 times.
15 times.
For 81 yards.
15 times he ran the football. I don't necessarily like my quarterback running. He's big and strong, and he can take a hit. Josh Allen does the same thing. He runs, and he doesn't slide as often as I think maybe the coaching staff. But sometimes it's just like you can take Salem out of the country, but you can't take the country out of Salem. Do you even get what that line is?
I mean, I get what you mean.
It's a commercial. It was an old cigarette commercial. Yeah. You can take Salem out of the country, but you can't take the country out of Salem. It was a cigarette commercial or menthol.
Oh, cigarette commercial.
Yeah,
back when those were a thing.
If I smoked menthol, it was Cools. But
I heard you quit. By the way,
I did. Yes, I quit smoking. I just one day decided I'd had enough. But I'm going Ravens in this one. I like Josh Allen and MVP and this and that and all that, but I just think I think the Ravens got a bit more. I think it's finally time. I know that they don't play well in postseason or haven't, or at least Lamar hasn't had his best days in the playoffs, but I'm going to take him. Who are you taking?
If I could pick a team to win it all, it would be the Bills. Just suffering fan base. Give me the Bills at home to pull the upset.
Thanks for your help today. I appreciate it. And thanks for having me.
Great job today.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. We enjoyed our visit with you. A comedy tonight, Meat Sauce, myself, Larry Mandela Guy, Clean Justice. Tickets available at cinemagrill.com. Show starts at 7:30. Hopefully you'll show up. We'll talk to you Monday, 12 noon. Stick around. Big Ticket JG. They're next here on The Fan.
And good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
You've got to be kidding me.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.